Good evening. Welcome back. I'm Bob Schuster. We are this evening video casting from
Ephesians
Visions Ministry from one of their sound stages. It'll look a little bit different tonight than normal, and we like the look. We hope you do. We've got some good things to share with you this evening. We've been sharing information for business people, for individuals in general, where they could take advantage of some things I know from my 45 years in business and 72 years in life, so that they could maybe capture more of the promise that was made by Jesus and recorded in John 10:10, where Jesus said, I come not just to give you life, but to give it to you in more abundance. And that was his hope. That's our hope. That's my hope for myself and for Dave and for all of you that might be listening. But I'm going to have Dave, who owns the studio and the equipment, to advise you how you can get a hold of us this evening. So, David?
Okay. Hey, Bob, thanks. Glad to be with you. I hope you like the new set. The way you can call us tonight is you can call us on the telephone. In the future, we'll have a Skype set up, but tonight it's by the regular good old telephone, Ma Bell. Dating myself there. The phone number to call is 541-323-2882, 541-323-2882. Just remember that when you call, to listen on the telephone. Don't listen to the webcast, because the webcast is about 30 seconds behind the real time. So there's a bit of a time lag there because of the electronics and because of the art of webcasting. So when you call, listen and talk to Bob on the telephone. And again, the number is 541-323-2882. Bob?
Thank you, Dave. And remember that we're in broadcasting tonight from Bend, Oregon. Beautiful Bend, Oregon. It's a little warm this evening. It's been warm all day. It's going to get warmer tomorrow. It's beautiful. Beautiful. It looks like our photograph behind us. We're in the high desert. It's gorgeous.
You could have taken this picture today.
Yeah, that's exactly what I see from my front window. My wife, the kids, and I, we live on a little bird called alfalfa. It's about 25 miles east of Bend. Just gorgeous. But this evening, got some good things, as always, I hope, to share with you. This pertains to life, and it especially pertains to business. And it's one of the things that I have struggled with, and I generally talk about things that I struggle the hardest with, because I know that if you can overcome them, and when you overcome them, they will be such huge assets in your life. And everything I talk about, I'm normally struggling with at the current time, and I know just how valuable they be. Many of them I've overcome, but we'll talk about one tonight that has really been a plague of mankind. I know of me and so many people that I've coached over the years in business or otherwise, and that's procrastination. I'm going to give you 7 steps this evening. If you want to write these down, it'd be at least a couple notes on each one. The 7 steps to eliminate procrastination from your life. You know, the biggest waste of time that all of us probably have engaged in, I know I have, and that is trying to learn or develop a skill in an area that is really not your strength zone. Sometimes you're forced into it, like I have been in business. You don't have maybe enough money to hire the secretary that you really need. I remember back in 1985, I think it was, I said, I don't need to learn this new stuff, this computer stuff, you know, and then I'll just hire it done. Well, there are some things that you need to learn the basics on, because after I let a couple secretaries go and they took the passwords with them, you learn in a hurry that there's some things you want to protect and you want to create yourself, and so you need to know the basic things.
I learned the same lesson in the same way.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
It is. Oh.
Mine was bookkeeping. You need to know a little bit about what's going on, and I just totally let someone else take over your business and then just go do your own thing. then come back and later and find out there's no money in the account.
Oh, yes, and that reminds me of. I've never been good at that. My wife does the household stuff and even the business stuff. And I remember 20 years ago, I had hired a really competent firm, and they had hired a gal that was my personal bookkeeper, and she came back with my balance in my checking account, and it was $20,000 more than I thought. And I said, "Are you sure?" "Oh yeah, I've checked it over. You've got $20,000 more than." So guess what? I started writing checks.
Guess what?
Her boss found out that she made a $20,000 mistake. Well, thank God business was good enough I could get everything covered and solved very quickly. But there are some things that you do need to at least get the basics on.
Yeah.
And really have control. And when somebody's giving you the information, you've got to have confidence in the fact, because of your knowledge, your basic knowledge, that the facts are correct. But don't go down a road, say, well, before I get started, I've got to learn how to be the best blogger, I got to learn how to be a website developer. I've got to, do all these things that you're just not good at, that really they can become your Achilles heel. And when it comes to having an excuse not to get on with what you got to do, the most important things. So number one, all of these are very important, but number one is something I struggled with all my life. I still struggle with. I'm 72. And that is to write down your goals. Write down your goals. Most people, 95% of the people, no, it's 97%. 97% of the people in the United States, the adult population, do not have written goals. They don't know where they're going or why they're going there. Somebody said, well, what are you going to do? Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things turn out. I haven't made up my mind yet. Well, write down what you think your goal is, your strongest urge, your strongest dream. Write them down. There may be several. Write them down. Okay.
Have you heard of the saying that those who fail to plan to fail?
Oh, no question about it.
Yeah, it's true.
It is the truth. I've been there. I know. Well, you probably have.
Yep.
You've been in business. You know. So when you're doing it, when you're writing your goals down, number two, be sure that they are realistic and attainable. Now, you may have a dream about being the most valuable player in Super Bowl 45. That was last year. Okay. Now, you can't become the most valuable player in Super Bowl 45 because that was the Green Bay Packers quarterback. My favorite team. All right. Or the Pope. You probably won't become the Pope. So make them realistic and attainable. I don't know, having 35 houses scattered around the world. Well, maybe Donald Trump, I don't even think has 35. But anyway, be realistic. Now, don't say, all I'm going to own is one little shack someplace, so I don't have to work too hard. No, make them things that really kind of turn you on. But remember, 97% of the adult population of the United States does not have written goals, and those do not have written goals. And those are the key to success. So keep in mind one thing, among others, it's not crowded at the top, it's crowded at the bottom. Okay? That's where everybody's trying to get there. Everybody's trying to get a $15 an hour job. Trying to figure out how you're going to make $150,000 a month or a year. The people that 99 or 97% of the people are trying to get the $15 an hour job. So it's not difficult for you to get in a different class. Just put yourself there. Write down your goals, establish realistic and attainable goals. Now, while you're doing number one and number two, number three, for every goal, and that you want to have a deadline on it. You say, well, I want to take a 30-day vacation. I've never had a 30-day vacation. I've had a week or a 2-week. Well, I haven't had a 30-day vacation since I was in the military 45 years ago. They gave you 30-day vacations. Hey, but if that's one of your goals, write it down. 30 days, is it realistic? You've had the 2 weeks, you know what it takes. Okay, write down the 30 days. But for every goal that you've got, remember, there's an obstacle. Now, if you're working for somebody else, you're going to have to work this out with your employer. Maybe 2 weeks at a time, a week at a time, 10 days at a time. You're going to have to reach certain production goals. What are the obstacles that are going to be in the way of you getting a 30-day vacation? Or maybe you want to buy a Mercedes-Benz. And the best you've been able to do is to get to a Cadillac. Or you want to buy a Cadillac, the best you've been able to do is to get a Chevy SUV. Well, what are the obstacles? That's money. Money generally is your biggest obstacle to most things in life that we perceive as goals. Okay? There are much more important things. You obviously know that. Your spiritual goals, your personal goals, your physical, along with your financial goals. But write them down, have them realistic, have them attainable, and put a time element with it. Don't just say, well, I want a 30-day vacation sometime. Write down what it's going to take to get the 30 days if you're in business for yourself. Different than if you're working for somebody else, but it still takes planning. Now, if you don't do number one, you don't do number two, you don't make them realistic. You don't write them down, you don't make them realistic. You don't write down the obstacles to getting there. You're starting to kill your dream. You're giving yourself plenty of excuses to procrastinate. Dave said he was going to have this all set up the night before I got here. Well, he said he would, but he never got around to it. So I took my shirt off, and no, he didn't say that. But anyway. Now, for each obstacle, develop a plan of attack. How are you going to go about overcoming, whether it's getting an extra 2 weeks vacation, enough money to buy the Cadillac, or maybe the Chevy SUV, I don't know what they call them, whatever it is. You like a bigger house, you want a new couch, you want to retire, whatever retirement is. I hope that God doesn't make me retire. I hope he just calls one day and said, hey, your trip's been canceled and come home. I want to keep going. I don't ever want to quit. Oh, that's boring. I talked to somebody today that called me after 50 years, and she and her husband had retired. And I didn't tell her that, but it scared me. What do you do when you retire? I want to be productive, and I'm sure you do. It's not hard. Set down your goals, figure out your obstacles, and then a plan of attack. And if it's one that's going to take money, or if it's one that I'm working on, losing some weight, how are you going to do it? What are the steps you're going to have to take to get at it? And you set a time limit. I'm going to start tomorrow morning. Well, why don't you start today? Well, it's too late to start today, probably. I've already eaten dinner, and that's probably ate too much. So I'll start tomorrow morning. And be serious about it. And I'm going to tell you how to take care of tomorrow morning. Because you've got to take care of it tonight. All right? Now, some people see obstacles as stumbling blocks. I prefer to see them as stepping stones. It's your choice. It's your choice. You can see it as a stumbling block, or you can see it as a stepping stone. It's all a matter of your mental attitude. what you think inside is what you do outside. And say, well, you know, how can I be more likable to other people? Well, you got to be more likable to yourself first. Because it's what's inside comes outside. As a man thinketh, so is he. You know, so many people criticize one religion or another religion or one political party or another political party, and the biggest criticism boils down to the fact that they're not walking the talk. So if you're going to talk a game, be able to play the game. You can't talk your way into the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl of anything in life. Whether it's losing weight in my case, or making more money, or the 30-day vacation, or having another child, or whatever it might be in your life. You've got to develop the plan of attack. How am I going to do it? The pro football teams started 2 years ago, at least, scouting college teams looking for their draft choice 2 years later. They started even sooner looking at high school kids that would be going to college and following them for 4 or 5, 6 years because they'd be able to plug them in. This is the talent we're looking for. They started planning ahead. They developed a plan of attack. Believe me, and I'm sure you will, the Green Bay Packers are planning on winning the Super Bowl again. They're planning on winning it again, and they're making plans on how to do that. You've got to treat your life the same way as if it's a Super Bowl. If not, as 97% of the people end up at the end going, there was a song, I think, years ago about, is that all there is to that? Some gal was watching a house burn down or something. Is that all there is to that? Well, you want to, when he calls, your maker calls, go, is that all there was to that? No. Very important. Resolve. Resolve to take action. Resolve to take action. Don't say, well, I think I'll get around to that, or I think I'll get around to this. You've got your goals written down. You know what your obstacles are. You've got a plan of attack. Now, don't say, well, I'm going to get around to that. How many have you heard? I know I have. I've said it. So, well, when are you going to do that? Well, as soon as I get around to it. As soon as I get around to it? If you said that, what was the result of as soon as you're going to get around to it? That's procrastination. Giving yourself an excuse. I'm a firm believer there are no answers for someone who's got an excuse for their behavior or where they're at. You can't help them. You can't help yourself if you've got an excuse. You say, well, I'm overweight, I'm not in good shape, I don't have enough money, because, my neighbors are angry with me, or I was born on the wrong side of the track, I didn't go to the right school, my mom beat me, whatever. If you've got an excuse, nothing anybody can do for you. Now, if you've got a reason, you and someone that you may ask can help you overcome. We all need help at some time, maybe a lot during our life, with overcoming. And you come to somebody, you come to the Lord, you come to a friend, you come to your wife or husband or child, whatever, and you say, I need some help overcoming this obstacle. And as long as you're committed to overcome, not a problem, you will. So resolve to take action. But here's a key, and this is one that will really work for you. I do it, and sometimes I don't. And when I do it, it really works well. And when I don't do it, it don't work so good. In the evening, before you go to bed, set down your agenda for tomorrow. Excuse me. They're cutting hay and my eyes itch. Have an agenda so that you write it down. And you do it in the evening before you go to sleep, so that you know what you're going to do in the morning. You know what you're going to do all day. Well, why would I do it in the evening? Well, you give your subconscious a chance to work on problem solving. How many times you didn't have anything on your mind and you end up having a goofy dream? Huh.
Last night.
Yeah, and you go, where'd that come from? Well, your mind said, I haven't got anything to do. I think I'll just kind of fool around here and see what I can come up with. So write your agenda down, what you're going to do. You wake up in the morning when your feet hit the ground, hit the floor. This time of year it'll be warm. In the winter it's cold. When your feet hit the floor, you hit the floor running, you know what you're going to do. And for so many years it's, well, the first thing I get out of bed in the morning is I'm going to turn on the coffee pot. Then maybe I'll go check the computer, see what if I got any emails. And by that time the coffee ought to be done. And I'll come back and I'll get a cup of coffee, and then maybe I'll come back and I'll turn on Fox or CNN or somebody and see what's happening in the world. Well, that's the last thing you want to do. There's anything they tell you what's going on in the world already happened, and you can't do anything about it anyway. Even if it hasn't happened, you can't do anything about it. Okay? Take a look at your list, get that coffee going if that's what you want. Tea, whatever. Not whatever. Huh. Don't wake up and go, no, that won't work. So have that agenda planned the night before. Let your subconscious work on it. You wake up in the morning and you're excited. You know where you're going. You got your goals. You got them written down. You got your obstacles. You know how you're going to overcome them. You got your timeline. I got to do such and such and such and such today and get it done. Now, while you're planning your agenda, use the Pareto rule, or what is known as the 80-20 rule. Now, Alfredo Pareto was an Italian back in the early 1900s. And he was a physician, a scientist, a philosopher. He was curious about the economy and the spread of wealth in Italy. So he did a study, and he found that 20% of the people in Italy owned 80% of all the wealth. So it became known as the Pareto rule, that 80% is owned by 20%, and now in the United States, it's about 5% own 95% of the wealth. Well, if nobody else wants to come and get it, they're going to take it. So it's the 80-20 rule. When you wake up, you look at your agenda, be sure that you've got it prioritized so that you say, number one, if I accomplish, and when I accomplish, not if, when I accomplish this item here, it's going to contribute to 80% of my wealth, 80% of my weight reduction, of getting toward it. Okay? You don't want to switch it around where you spend your whole day doing the 80% of stuff that only contributes to 20% of your getting to your goals. A lot of people confuse busyness with business. Busyness with accomplishment. There's a big difference. So stick to the 80-20 rule. Do the 20%. And I've got a form, if you go to my website, you'll be able to pick it up, and I'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. But it's an 80-20 rule. Break down your agenda. We're coming to the end of our half hour this evening. And number 7. If you've got any last minute questions, we'll take them at 541-323-2882. We can stay on. We turn our broadcast off when we want to. So if you do want to call, go ahead. I know you're excited, you're listening, you're saying, this is good stuff. Number 7. Dedicate yourself to getting it done. Don't leave it to somebody else. Don't say, well, I hope my wife does it, I hope my husband does it, or, my kids will do it after I'm gone. What is it? This is key. What is it that I and only I can do? And if I do it well, it will make a substantial difference in my life. Any aspect of your life. What can I and only I do?
And the incorrect answer is everything.
Yes. 100, you want to get to 100% control and take 100% responsibility for your life. So wrapping this up, write down your goals, make them realistic and attainable, set deadlines, define your obstacles, set a plan of action so you know how you're going to overcome them. Commit yourself to doing it. Set an agenda. Stick to the 80-20 rule. And dedicate yourself to the fact that you and only you can do it. And if you do it well, when you do it well, it will make a huge difference, and you will kill the devil procrastination. Kill it. Stomp on it. And your life will be the beneficiary. Dave, would you tell a little bit about what's going to happen on September 11th?
Yeah, September 11th, we are going to have a remembrance event at the Les Schwab Amphitheater, and we're very excited about it. We're going to have tributes to the troops. We're going to have a variety of music and entertainment. We're even going to have a tap dancer. We're going to have a comedian.
The tap dancer won't be me.
No. But seriously, we want to pay tribute to the people who gave their lives on 9/11. There was thousands of people that died, and some of them were citizens. They just get up in the morning, get on an airplane, and go about life. And that airplane didn't land; it crashed, and they are now in the history books, and hopefully they're in heaven. But we want to pay tribute to those folks, so we're going to be doing it on 9/11. It's an outreach of Operation Eagle's Wings, which is a veterans news network that we have here. That's part of EVM Media, which also puts on this show. It's 9/11, free of charge to the public. We are still looking for entertainers and vendors. Now, if you want to be involved in this tribute to the military, tribute to first responders, one of the things that we are going to have is we're going to play back some of the phone calls from cell phones from the Twin Towers. We're going to see if we can get from the New York Fire Department some of the 9/11 tapes and play them in a dramatic, symbolic representation of what happened that day. We will have an interview with Joe Turillo, I believe is his name. He was the only surviving New York Fire Department firefighter that survived the collapse of both towers.
Oh, wow.
He was buried in the debris of the first tower. They dug him out, put him on a fireboat, and he was being taken away when the second tower collapsed, and glass shrapnel from that tower cascaded on their fireboat, and everybody jumped overboard. He jumped down headfirst into the engine compartment to escape the glass shrapnel from that falling tower that just covered the boat. But he survived. Miraculously, he survived. So he's got an amazing story to tell. We wanted to have him here in person, but we're going to have him either audio or video, and telling what it was like, what was going through his mind. What was going through his mind as he heard the 911 dispatch, and then saw the towers and realized that it was a terrorist attack and how they responded. And so he has some real interesting comments. We've already interviewed him once, and we'll be interviewing him on the 9/11 day. we want to make this a signature event for Operation Eagle's Wings. Sometimes we call it the Eagle. The Eagle's purpose is the mission statement is honoring all who serve and leaving no one behind. We're concerned about the situation with the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. There are some of those folks that are serving in some cases, 5 tours of duty. They're coming back to the United States. There's no job, and the only paycheck they can get is picking up their rifle and going back on patrol in Baghdad or Afghanistan or wherever. After you've gone through 5 tours of duty, that creates a serious problem. Did you know that the divorce rate with officers currently serving men in the military is 80%?
Ooh, wow.
And the divorce rate of enlisted men is 70%. Were you aware that sometimes there have been months when the suicide rate was higher than the rate of loss of life in combat? So some of these folks, not everybody's, killing themselves, of course, but it's significant. There's some issues that they're facing that are significant, as I get the word out. But, and obviously everyone is having issues right now with the economy. Everyone's trying to find jobs. Everyone's trying to keep food on the table and pay their rent and get their kids through school. We're all facing difficulties. But these folks have put their lives on the line, whether or not you agree with the specific conflict they're in. They have answered the call and are serving their country and serving the cause of freedom. And we need to at least be aware. I've talked to a number of veterans counselors. You'll be hearing us if you check out us on the website, OperationEaglesWings.us. We've recently redesigned the website. We are also expanding the Eagle into other cities. The goal is to take this nationwide. The first city we're expanding into right now is Wenatchee, Washington. So if you're watching us in Wenatchee, Washington, we're going to be expanding the Eagle into your community. And then there's 2 other cities we have earmarked for the Eagle expansion. And what it is we're here to tell the story of the veterans. We want to tell their story before they become a story. One of the things that really spoke to me was in Washington State, there was a returning serviceman that lost it, and he killed his wife, killed his kids, led police on a high-speed pursuit, and then took his own life. And this particular individual was not one given to fits of anger or outrage or wanton destruction like this, but something happened over there that he snapped. One of the gentlemen that we visit with, Cody Standiford, who works with Congressman Greg Walden's he is with the Wounded Warriors program. A number of the people in his unit committed suicide when they came home. This is more important, a number of them said they were thinking about it, but didn't, because someone stepped up and said, "Are you okay? You look like you're having a bad day." Sometimes when you want to know what to do to veterans, other than, and of course one of the things you want to say is thank you for the service to your country, but another thing you want to say is, "Hey man, how you doing?" No, how are you really doing? And a number of people with Cody's unit said that they were thinking of suicide, but didn't carry through because someone cared enough to step forward and reach out a hand and say, "We really care about what you're doing." So, and care about how you're feeling and what you're going through. Another organization that we want to work quite a lot with is the Band of Brothers. There's Band of Brothers organizations here in Central Oregon and a number of cities. There's 528, I believe, members of Band of Brothers here in Bend. And those are people who have served in the military in all genres, in all theaters of operation, and in all ages. And I talked to one man who actually helped build the wall through Baghdad. And he was shot while he was working on the wall. And he's now living in Bend with his wife. And he said that the Band of Brothers organization is really important to him because he can relate to people that know what it's like. Some of the members in Band of Brothers here in Bend have been on D-Day and have been in some of the other campaigns that are quite notable. Bob Maxwell, a Medal of Honor recipient, lives here and a member of the Band of Brothers, threw himself on a live hand grenade during World War II in France. So the people that are serving and coming back facing issues of post-traumatic stress disorder, yes, it's a real problem. Issues of suicide, yes, it's a real problem. Not everyone is dealing with their trauma in that way, but some of them are. So what the 9/11 event is to raise awareness of some of these issues, to tell you how you can help, and to pay tribute to these folks. Part of the events during 9/11, we're going to be Skype calling servicemen who are actively serving overseas. And you can go into the tent. We'll have a tent set up where you can record a video greeting to any serviceman or woman and just say, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. I know that war's been going on for 10 years, but I'm still thinking about you, still praying for you. Those can make a huge difference in a serviceman or servicewoman's life. So more details to come. We're going to have some fun things on 9/11 Remembers. The event is called 9/11 Remembered, A Nation Unites for Freedom. There'll be some pretty heavy dramatic moments as we're retelling the story of the towers falling. But we're going to have some fun as family too. We're going to have a comedian, we're going to have a tap dancer, and we'll have a lot of music. So more to come, but Bob, thank you for bringing that up.
No, not a problem. It's a very important event. It'll be one of the most important in the history event this year, maybe for many years.
And one of the things, if I could add this too, is as you drive by our building at Butler Market in Boyd Acres, you're going to see the service flags flying in front of the building every day. The U.S. flag, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and the POW MIA flag. In the future, we'll add the Coast Guard and the Merchant Marines as well. But we really want to pay tribute to the military and the first responders, police, fire. There's a movie coming up in September that we're going to be talking a lot about called Courageous. It was made by the same makers of the movie Fireproof. And Courageous is a dramatic portrayal of the story of a sheriff's officer that underwent a tragedy on duty. I don't believe this is a real life story. We just found out about it today. But it's a real great story on faith and its importance in the family unit and how people can get through, seemingly impossible situations by faith and by family. It's Courageous is the movie. You're going to be hearing us talking about it as we're going to promote it, because what we want to do is see more family-oriented films out there that have a good moral lesson to be learned. I remember back in the day, in the good old days, movies had a good message. Now, there's a lot of movies out there that, quite frankly, don't have a real great message. So what can we do to change that? What we can do to change that is support the movies that do have a good message. That can change society. And we'll be talking more about that. There's a lot we're doing here, and thank you for being part of it.
David, thank you so much, and thank you for all your help. Yeah, not only me, but for all the veterans.
Well, thank you. You're a Marine.
I am a Marine. I never served in combat, but I wrote the same check, and all these guys, whether they're working in the bakery or the mess hall or supply depot, they all wrote the same check. Uncle Sam would say, "You've got me, all of me. Cash the check if you have to." So, God bless all of you guys. God bless everybody that's listening tonight, and we thank you for joining us.
See you next week at the same time. More to come, and Bob, thank you for being here and sharing with us.
Enjoy it.
We'll see you next week.